You know what? Like I said before, every human being is having a what now moment. They've gone through a loss, a change, often an unwelcome change, a challenge, or they're facing an unlimited opportunity. It's a what now moment. It's a moment where we're trying to process what we should do and not do, how to clear the path forward and move our lives, move our potential, move our wounded.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Career Coaching Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Rexhen, and today's guest is Dr. Jenna Druck, an executive coach, best-selling author, and organizational consultant whose 4 decades of work have shaped how leaders and families navigate adversity. He's the founder of the Jenna Druck Center and a trusted advisor to organizations like Microsoft, IBM, and the YMCA. His book, including The Secrets Men Keep, The Real Rules of Life, Courageous Aging, Healing Your Life After the Loss of a Loved One, and Raising an Aging Parent, together with the recent bestseller, How We Go On, translate hard-won wisdom into practical tools for resilience, compassionate leadership, and turning pain into purpose. He's also the pioneer of executive coaching, the very first executive coach. And it's a pleasure for me to have him on the podcast today. Welcome to the show, Ken.
Thank you so much. Good to be with you today.
It's a pleasure to have you on. And I wanted to talk to you about the very beginnings of this, since it's not every day that I interview the pioneer for executive coaching. I've interviewed so many executive coaches, but it's a pleasure for me to have you on the show today. So wanted to touch upon what inspired you to become an executive coach before executive coaching was a thing, and then start this as a business.
A great question. It's such an interesting history because many years ago, before many of the people who are watching this were even born, I was functioning as a clinical psychologist. That's where I got my degree. And I was, all of us as psychologists or therapists or healers or coaches or whatever, we have certain people that are attracted to come and see us because of something about us. And I attracted leaders in business and government. So I had all these leaders coming to see me, and many of them didn't want anybody to know that they were seeing a shrink. It's like, oh my God, you're in therapy? You're the president of our company, or you're the governor of our state, or what's wrong with you? Because there was still such a heavy stigma. People who went for help. Help is the least utilized 4-letter word, especially in the male vocabulary. You ask for help, it's a sign of weakness. You're a flawed person. What do you mean you need help? So I would ask many of the leaders that I was working with, I'd say, would it be better if you had a coach in high school? And they'd say, yeah, I did. I played football or basketball or soccer or whatever. I said, would it be better if we saw what we were doing as coaching? And they all would say, yes, that would be terrific. You're kind of my coach. And so I started calling what I was doing executive coaching. And with that title, it also felt a more natural transition for them to talk about their role as an executive, because everything that came up in coaching had some kind of an impact on the work they were doing as a leader. So suddenly, there was this whole new thing, executive coaching. And I would call people that and build them that way, and started my practice in executive coaching as well as the work that I did with people as a therapist. Now, here we are 40 plus years later, and people say, who are you? What are you? And I tell them, I'm a recovering psychologist. I kid with people because I'm no longer a psychologist. And I decided that in the work that I do in my life, I'm a coach and I'm a consultant. If you need to put a label on me, and most people don't call up and say, what are you? They call up because somebody told them, hey, I think you could get a lot of help. Read this guy's book, or go see him, or he's giving a speech somewhere. Go listen to him. Go listen to his audio book or whatever, because I think what he's talking about might speak to the what now moment that you're having in your life or in your marriage or your company, your family, your parenting, whatever it is, because all of us, you and me and everybody we know, is having some kind of a what now moment. And whether to the extent that we meet that moment rather than avoid it and run from it defines the quality of our character and the quality of our lives and the quality of our relationships.
And so when working with your clients for so many years, going through the coaching journey with them, coaching journey is interesting when you think about you didn't have to call it that always. What about it do you find most rewarding?
For me, the most deeply satisfying part of coaching is what I learn, especially by listening. I think every good coach should have scar tissue on his or her tongue. All the times you've bitten it because you wanted to give advice, you wanted to fix somebody, you wanted to figure them out and fix them. Good coaching, and the part of it that brings me joy, is creating a safe place for people to feel understood. The experience of feeling understood is the basis for feeling loved, for feeling trust, for feeling like you're not alone in this life or in the challenges and changes or losses that you've been facing. So for me, spent the intimacy, the closeness, the opportunity, the wealth that is exchanged between people in coaching is the wealth of what happens when we listen, when we put ourselves in service to another human being and give them the experience and the feeling of being understood, and then help them look at what are their options? What are their options? Not the options you have, unless you're asked. No unsolicited advice, but helping somebody understand, like, what are my options? What could I do here? And really having somebody draw you out and think through critically the critical thinking, the critical feeling, the critical exploration of what options we have at every turn. It unleashes, it clears the path forward for another person. It helps them make critically good decisions about what to do, where to go, and what not to do. And it helps them become the better and better, smarter, more courageous, more humble, more approachable version of themselves. And so it gives me joy to create that kind of an experience for another person. It brings out the best in me. So the tools and the skills and abilities that I've cultivated to be able to do that, it's bringing out the best in me. So it also happens. It's a win-win. It's a win for me. It's a win for the other person. And to be able to walk away with the sense that you helped somebody meet a defining moment in their life, not by telling them what to do, but by helping them access their deepest thoughts and feelings, aspirations, values, goals, that you did that is so deeply rewarding and satisfying. So that's why I've made a life and a career of doing it. And I also happen to learn so much. People who trust other people are teachers as well. The people who we're helping, as they learn to receive support and caring and love and safety, creating a safe refuge. It's a noble thing to be doing as a human being. And it's not only something we do in coaching, it's the way we live. It's a way of living. It's a way of relating. It's a way of being with other people. And it's one of the most important things we can master in this life.
Absolutely. And it's so impactful too, especially in your case, working with leaders of big companies, working with executives. And I want to dive a little bit deeper into that. When it comes to your ideal client profile, we have two audiences of this podcast. There's coaches and there's the audiences of the coaches we've had on the podcast. So it's a mixture of coaches and people who are looking for coaches. So we might be tapping into an audience that could fit this ideal client profile.
Yes.
But how would you specify it? Is there a certain industry, certain demographic, psychographic, common goals? Are there commonalities?
You know what? Like I said before, every human being is having a what now moment. They've gone through a loss, a change, often an unwelcome change, a challenge, or they're facing an unlimited opportunity. It's a what now moment. It's a moment where we're trying to process what we should do and not do, how to clear the path forward and move our lives, move our potential, move our woundedness, move our need to meet our desire to meet our own needs in a healthier, stronger, better way. So we're having that what now moment. And at each turn in this life, in each season of this life, we have to summon, very important word, summon. We have to call forth the courage to meet the moment, to face it, to tell ourselves a deeper truth about ourselves, how we're feeling, what we're going through, what we're scared of, to own up to how we haven't, ways that we might not have been as effective as we want to be, ways we might have squandered an opportunity. And as we do it, one of the things we have to learn and we have to have modeled for us is how to take our foot, catch ourselves with our foot on our throat. Our foot on our throat means I'm prosecuting myself. I'm harshly criticizing myself. I'm rushing myself impatiently. I'm pressuring myself. I'm defeating myself with certain behavior. And I've got to catch myself here and learn how to bring that hand down to my heart. And that's the hand of self-compassion. It's the hand of kindness. It's the hand of patience and support, courage, honesty, humility. And when we do that, what happens organically is we grow into the stronger, smarter, better version of ourselves. We begin to heal the wounds in us. So when we think about who should be a coach, how should we coach, or who should go for coaching, who should have the courage to say, you know what, this would be a good time for me to be with somebody who could help, who could listen, who could help me think about my options, who could help me learn to give myself greater patience, support, encouragement, kindness, love, acknowledgement, who could be more honest with me. I need some of those things. I need to learn how to do them. That's how I become the better version of me. That's how I become the version of me that's realizing their dreams in this life, that's living with the feeling like I'm clearing that path forward and I'm on that path forward in my life. I'm taking smart and healthy risks. I've stopped taking non-productive, wasteful risks. I've broken free of patterns that have held me back from, my relationships, in my desire to be a leader, in my desire to be a manager, in my desire to be approachable to other people. I developed some habits in my earlier life. I might have developed some habits that make it. I've got that don't approach me face. What game face do I need to soften my face? Whatever it is that's your goal, take yourself seriously. Give yourself the support that you need. You deserve it. And it's one of the ways I start the day every day on a walk. I've got my dog over there and I take the dog on the walk. My wife can still run. So she runs. I do a brisk walk with the dog. And it's kind of a walking meditation. And I ask myself around 4 questions. I start by asking myself, because it's a moment for me to wake up and be conscious and be awake and aware, to shape the day that this beautiful gift of life, to shape this gift of a day. And the first question I always ask myself is, what's weighing most heavily on my heart today? Is it what's happening in the world? Is it something that somebody said to me yesterday? Is it the heaviness that I'm feeling because I'm about to make a change? I'm trying to get the courage up to make an important change and to do something that's going to help me and move my life closer to what I want it to be. So I ask myself, what is it? It might be something I found out about my health. It could be an opportunity. I'm worried I'm going to blow it. I met the person of my dreams. I'm going to do all the wrong things and say the wrong things. I'm not going to be attractive to that person. Who knows what it is? But I ask myself, what's weighing most heavily? And I answer honestly, directly, no holds barred, just honest moment with myself. Second question I often ask myself is, what's making my heart sing today? What happiness might I not be really registering? What blessing, what gift, what moment of gratitude is making my heart sing? Because our hearts need to be allowed to sing too. That's what balances it all out. Third question might be, what does today afford me the opportunity to let go of a little bit more? Because we carry around all this crap. We carry around grudges and heaviness and despair and fear. And sometimes those are things we need to listen to, but sometimes we carry too much of it. It's like wearing a backpack and we forget to 90 pounds in there. We forget, why am I taking all that weight around with me? So those are some of the questions. Another question, if the person listening is a coach, it might be, if I had a 1-year goal, what would my 1-year goal be to strengthen my abilities as a coach? Or if you're a person getting coaching, what would strengthen the value that I'm getting? What would I say to my coach? What would I become more conscious and aware of and bring to coaching? So I'm bringing my game the issues that are really, really I need help with. So often it starts with moments of honesty with ourselves. And we can't meet all of our own needs, and we don't need to. And sometimes we need help and support and a trusted confidant. That's what a coach is. And then we need to find somebody who we have a trust that this is a person who's qualified, who's already demonstrating to me their ability to listen, their ability to help me, to reflect back to me what I'm saying to them, so I can see they're really registering, they're understanding me. Help me think out loud about what I've been considering as options, to give me other options. If I ask, say, can you think of anything else that I haven't thought of that I could be doing? Somebody who's smart enough to come up with options. So trust has to be somebody whose trust we are going to be able to earn increasingly.
And I want to turn this back to you in a question that you would ask yourself, thinking about your coaching business at this point and looking the next 1 to 3 years. Do you have any specific business goals or goals in general that you're working towards of?
And that's a question that I've actually been asking on my morning walk. It's a new season of my life. Every season of our life presents different challenges. As I listen to myself, and I ask myself, what would give you the greatest satisfaction and joy? What do you need to have peace, to enjoy quality of life at my age, in the situation I'm in? And that's such an important question, because then I can go into the day knowing what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. So with my coaching, I think it's a strange thing my guess is that a lot of people who are watching this session, our interview, are much younger than me, but I want to give you a window into the future. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're talking to a man who's 76 years old. When I wrote my first book, I'm going to show you something to emphasize. Got all this out. When I wrote my first book and went on Oprah and became Dr. Ken on Oprah, this is me. What did I want to do when I wrote The Secrets Men Keep? I wanted to change the world. I was willing to put in 90-hour weeks. I would ask myself, what do you want? What are you willing to work for? So I think we have to make a very personal decision. And my decision throughout most of my life, I have worked tenaciously to make a living, to cultivate interest and attention in the right way and healthy ways. I've written all these books because people will pick up a book. We talk about, what's my goal? Well, I'm writing another book right now. Don't buy into all the BS about age. If you're given years of life, one of the richest, most productive, creative, and lucrative financially, spiritually, and every other way times of life is in your 70s. I feel like in some ways I'm just warming up. I hope I get a whole bunch more years.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm doing, I can tell you about what I've done in my life to draw attention to become the better version of myself as a coach. I've done a very good job of that, writing books, speaking for different organizations, writing articles. I used to write articles for everybody. I still do. I get calls from, what's the best-selling magazine in America right now?
Mm-hmm.
The Costco Connection, the Costco magazine. So let me see if I can get a copy. You want to get clients? This story was taken from my article. Find something you love thinking about and writing about. And now you have ChatGPT 5 to work with. Well, I started thinking about this. What time is it in your life? And that went out to over 40 million people had my name and my article. So there are ways to take something that is a curiosity to you or a special talent or skill that you bring. You may not even be aware of it, an experience you've had, something you specialize in. Write about it. Offer to speak for a different group that might have a tremendous interest in that area. Either donate your time or make your fees reasonable enough so that people start getting to know you. Make yourself accessible and summon the confidence in yourself that you're going to be able to, in a very short time, distill what you know into things that are attractive. So here, I got a book. This one. What's this question? How does this meet? Here's a question. Katie Kirk gave me an endorsement on the top. But how we go on, isn't that about life? Whether it's a change or a challenge? So the way you title your talks, the way you title and brand yourself has to be simple and digestible and have immediate value recognition. People read this, they go, oh, how we go on? Oh my God, I'm going through something right now. Wouldn't that be helpful? So I think for me personally, while I'm writing, I am only taking certain coaching clients. Why? Because certain coaching clients, almost like when I was functioning as a therapist, are going to be they have extremely complicated situations. It's going to take an enormous amount of my time and energy. And I, at this point in my life, I'd rather give that. So I'm very popular with therapists in the area because I refer a lot of people. So I want to work with certain kind of people who are at an advanced stage in what they're looking for, the coaching they're looking to get. Or I still work with coaching clients. I still do a lot of coaching with people who have suffered tragic losses. You read in my introduction about I founded the Jenna Druck Center. Who's Jenna Druck? Jenna Druck's my daughter. My daughter died in an accident while studying abroad in 1996. I started a nonprofit foundation in her name to help families that went through tragedies like mine. And that's what I did for 80 hours a week, 20 years, until somebody else took it over. But we think it's so important for us to take inventory, do that self-audit, and take inventory of our own hearts, our own desires, and how we could work smart in achieving the goals that we have for ourselves as coaches, and continue to talk to people, talk to coaches who are successful, learn from people who are successful, ask for 10 minutes of their time, tell them what you're doing, ask them to weigh in on, hey, here's what I've been doing, and I'm not sure it's working, or here's something I did wrong. Continue to ask for people's feedback and input. People who at my age and in my situation love sharing the wealth of what we've learned, including our failures, what we did that it was ridiculous, a waste of time and energy. One of the things that has been a waste of time and energy for me is sometimes we join groups and we think that there's going to be a sharing of resources and it's going to activate a network and all good things are going to start flowing back to us. Be very discerning. One of the reasons I agreed, Rexhen, to be on your podcast is because I love what you guys are doing. You're the right group for me to be doing a podcast. And I
Thank
get
you.
5 requests a week and I say no to them. But meeting you, talking with you, finding out all the good things that you're trying to do with coaches and to get people the help they need and so on is worthy. So I'm encouraging people to be very discerning in what you choose, where you go to learn, and the information you're getting, that it's trustworthy, it's honest, it's well researched or well experienced, and you don't have people trying to sell you something.
It's so interesting. I almost feel like I've met a coach just like you, maybe a month ago. You might know him as well. He's also one of the pioneers and is in a similar industry and similar niche as you. So I'll send that to you later on. I'll need to look up
That would be great.
him and see where it is. Yeah, I appreciate it. And thank you for considering us as well. The question that I feel like is going to be very helpful for coaches who are listening is a lot of the coaches who we get on the show or coaches in general around this time and age are very driven by impact. They're trying to scale that impact. They want to touch more lives, especially people who work with leaders just like you do. You're impacting that executive, you're impacting that CEO, that leader, and they have their own teams, they have their own families, kind of like ripples down. as an impact. My question to you is, what advice would you give to these coaches who are trying to scale that impact?
Yeah. Start writing and speaking. I have on my phone, I have the voice memo, a little thing up there, voice memo. Do you know how often I use that? I'm taking my walk and I punch in voice memo and I start thinking about a client that I saw or something I'm gaining an understanding of. And I talk for 5 minutes. Then I have a relationship with Psychology Today. I write blogs for them and I write it up. Be careful using AI. Don't let AI create a superficial thing that has none of your heart and soul in it. Make sure your heart and soul are in everything you're writing. And I send it to Psychology Today with a picture. Last week, I wrote one called Why We Love Our Dogs. I was sitting there, I was walking with the dog, and I thought, why we love our dogs? Why do we love our dogs? And I started just thinking, and I recorded it. So it became a blog for Psychology Today. 7,000 people read it in the first day. 7,000 people who have my name, where to reach me, and who've had a sampling of my expertise. The title of the article was Why We Love Our Dogs and Why It's So Hard When We Lose Them. And the cover of the story was a coffee cup when we lost our last dog. Somebody sent us this. Here's our new dog. Here's me, my wife, and here's our dog that passed. That was the cover of the article. So animating something with a picture, with a photograph that's compelling, a compelling story, even if it doesn't have to do with your coaching practice, it has to do with you. You're selling you. You're animating yourself as a work in progress, as somebody who's learning and growing and aspiring too. And I think the sharing of that is one of the greatest ways to expand the bandwidth of people who know about you, the work that you're doing, who you are, that have trusted you because they've read or listened. And I know social media is changing. The whole game is changing. Stay current with what's happening because all the old things, a lot of people are going away from Instagram and, all the social media stuff is in radical stage of change. But you getting on a live broadcast, like here I am with you, Rexhen, you showing your face, you answering questions, you talking about stuff you don't know, being vulnerable, being honest, being real is a way to expand the breadth of people who might be interested in calling you to get some coaching or know somebody who they might want to tell about you. And I think those are great ways. And it's the medium for getting out there is so competitive right now. So be good and have people, my wife is so try. I say, is this any good? She'll say, I don't know. But have people you trust who can give you honest reality checks and say, that's great. That's great. Write about that or talk about that. You can get on and record it and then post it. So whether you're writing it, you can get on with somebody if you're not good and just, ask somebody to interview you. Bring your dog online. Have your dog interview. Be creative. Think outside the box. Do things that are different. That makes you're grabbing people's attention. I'm writing my new book is for my 5-year-old grandkids. Who's going to read it to them? Parents. So it's really a book for parents and about why 5-year-old kids need to hear that sometimes learning how to be a person is really very difficult when you're 5. But guess what? It's also difficult at 35 and 45 and 50, but it's difficult the whole ride. There are going to be moments we're all having a lot of trouble. We haven't figured it out yet. So it's hard to be a person. But if we have permission, instead of our foot on our throat, and we have permission to not know some things, to not have figured some things out, to not always be certain, to hold ourselves in uncertainty and fear and unknowingness, lostness, emptiness. Most people think emptiness is terrible. Emptiness is the place you go to find foundness. Don't run away from your emptiness. Don't run away from your unknowingness. Don't run away from your fear necessarily, because if you hold yourself in those places, sometimes the greatest awarenesses, the greatest discoveries, the greatest options open to us when we hold ourselves in those places. Not here, but here.
And I feel like we are the only ones who can remove that hand from there.
Everybody tries to get our hand down. Oh, you shouldn't blame yourself. Get your hand, stop it.
Yeah.
People try to, when people are grieving a loss, it's like, don't you have another kid at home, or, you're going to get over it, or you have such a wonderful future, or, whatever, or they had such a great life, or they're with God now, or whatever. People try to fix us.
Absolutely.
And they might be right, but that's not the way we work. You shouldn't feel guilty. Stop feeling guilty. Why don't you take better care of yourself? It's from here that we create life. It's from self-compassion, kindness, care, tough love with kindness, being very honest, courageously honest with ourselves.
And I love that a coach is not trying to do that. It's not trying to remove the head. It's actually trying to help you figure out that you can do it yourself too. Yeah, I really appreciate all the amazing advice today, Ken. So thank you so much for coming to our show. I feel like a lot of coaches have learned a lot from this today, and especially about always writing, bringing some content in the world. I journal myself. It doesn't always have to be a content probably, but yeah, never leaving those thoughts in. And I really appreciate that. And thank you so much for today.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you very much for today. And thank you for the work that you're doing in the coaching community and the world. And I have every confidence that it's going to continue to grow. And any way I can be helpful to you in making that happen, you have my help.
For anyone who wants to connect with Dr. Ken Druck, they can go into LinkedIn. They'll be able to find your profile. They can also go into the website kendruck.com. Is there any other way people could reach out to you?
Yeah, they can. There's howwegoon.com. That's the book that I showed you.
Mm-hmm.
If you want, you can contact me through any of those ways, and or send an email to info@kendruck.com. But I'd be delighted to hear from anybody. And I wish everybody listening to this well. Keep your hand on your heart and catch yourself up here. Only you can do it, as Rexhen said.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.